Now the married couples allowance, even my old man doesn't get this. My dad lives in France. How old is my dad now? 84, 5, 86 or something. But he doesn't even qualify for this. This is for people who were born, married couples that is, or civil partners, hence married couples or civil partnerships, who were born before 1935. So, and it's never changed, it's always been that year. So as years go by, fewer and fewer people get this allowance. And you might think, well, hold on, I don't have many mortgage clients in that age bracket. You probably don't. But if you're in the equity release world, you will do. You'll get people in that age bracket, and that's where the problem occurs. Now, in a nutshell, what happens here is that these people get an extra allowance off of their income tax bill. That's all it is. And the current figures, because this is the only figure that's changed for this tax year of 22-23, which is what obviously the tax year we're working on. Tax year 22-23 is the only figure that's changed. Everything else has stayed the same because they're doing what they call fiscal drag, which drags more and more people into higher rate tax. But that's because that's what they need to do. So currently the figures are, they get £9,415. Let's put that over here for you. £9,415 is the extra allowance they effectively get. But it's not like a personal allowance because they only get 10% tax saving. So the maximum that they could receive, because you don't need a calculator for that, is £941.50 because they round it out nicely. So that's the reduction, if you like, on their income tax bill, which is a really good thing because that's, you know, just under £100 a month, isn't it? That's going to help enormously towards, you know, the gas bills, etc. And these people are entitled to that, which is great. Now the problem is that there is an income limit for this, which you'll see in the tax sheets. All these numbers are in there. And the income limit causes problems because the more they earn, these people, the less of this extra allowance do they get. Arguably, you could say that's quite sensible, really, isn't it? Because if you've got a really rich married couple who are loaded, you know, loads of pension money, they shouldn't be getting government money as well, should they? Because they don't need it. So there is an income limit. And you have to have a look at that limit. It's in the tax sheet. It happens to be, let's put the figure up there for you, £31,000, here we go, £400. Excuse me, is the income limit. I'll put that in there in brackets for you, income limit. There you go, so we know what that is. And what happens here is if somebody's income is more than that from all sources, then they lose this allowance. Now it reduces by £1, so the allowance reduces by £1 for every £2, let's put the figure on it, of income over, there you go, over the limit. So it gradually erodes away, that's what I was saying to you really. And that's it. There is a minimum. There is a minimum of £364. So even if you're earning hundreds of thousands of pounds, you'll still get 364 quid off your tax bill. So that's nice as well, isn't it? And that's how it works. Now, by the way, don't get confused with the marriage allowance. For those of you who are doing your CMAT 1, you've probably heard of this thing called the marriage allowance. And that's available to all couples or civil partnerships. And what it does, it allows people to transfer a little bit of their personal allowance to the other partner if they're not using it by earning money. That's a very different allowance, that one. This is the married couples allowance, similarly named, I know, to cause extra confusion. But what I want to do now is just share with you a quick calculation to show how this can be problematic for equity release clients. Now for mortgage customers, you won't get people this age buying mortgages, but for equity release you will do. So I've got a little case study for you. So let's just put this in a little space here so you can see this looking quite nicely over here in our little corner. Now I've got a little case study by the name of Ethel. I just went for Ethel. I thought it was quite a nice name. Now Ethel is age 90. So she and her husband, they can apply for a married couples allowance. They will get it. Now Ethel's current income, there you go, from all sources, and this is pensions and everything that Ethel earns, is a good old £29,000. Here we are. Put on 29 grand, shall we? Now because she's on £29,000, she's below this limit, as you can see quite clearly. Therefore she's entitled to the entire married couples allowance. So she'll get £941 off her tax bill each year. So good for her. However, you've come along, and you've done an equity release for Ethel from their property, the couple, and you've given her a load of money, and she spent a bit of it, but she's put some away in savings because she wants to protect herself. That's what she says. Which is not good advice on your part, but she's done that. And she's earning money from the savings. She's earning an income, be it dividends or interest, or it makes no difference. But you've given her an extra income, or there you go, an extra income of £10,000 through your equity release antics, which, as you can appreciate, brings her new income to £39,000. Now the problem here is that's exceeding now the income limit. Let's get a different pair. That's exceeding the income limit, as you can see quite clearly. 39,000 is more than 31,000 by, I've just worked out the numbers, 7,600. So the excess is 7,000. There we are. £600. And remember the rule: for every pound, it reduces by £1 for every £2 of extra income. So I'd effectively just divide that by 2. That's what I would do there. So that gives me, she's going to lose £3,800 from the married couple's allowance. So she's going to lose that. So the married couple's allowance now is 9,415 less 3,800. She's now got a married couple's allowance of 5,615. Yeah. £5,615 is her new married couple's allowance, and she's now entitled, of course, to 10% of that, and that gives her entitlement, brings it down now to 500. There's lots of figures here, isn't it? £561 and 50p again. So she's lost 380 quid. So she would have got £941. She now gets £561. So she's lost £380. So poor old Ethel is way upset about that, because that's £40 a month. For somebody like this is a lot of money. And she didn't have to lose it, that's the whole point, because she had income. You gave her income. Now for equity release, it's very dangerous to give people income. Give them capital, yeah, and they go and spend it, or do something on the house, or give it to their children, or as a pet or something, or spend it on a cruise or whatever. If they spend it, like Brewster's Millions, it's great. But if they hoard it away and it produces income, interest or dividends, it increases salaries, and this affects the married couple's allowance. It might also affect things like pensions credit, if they're entitled to getting that. It might affect some of the other welfare benefits that they're entitled to as well. So you can be very careful when you do this. When you give advice on equity release, make sure you get some software which tells you how much of all this stuff you're going to lose the client if they end up with a bigger income. You can get software that does all the welfare benefits and this stuff at the touch of a button. I mean, I worked out these numbers using the government's website. It's all done by electronics nowadays, isn't it? You don't need a calculator no more. But that's married couple's allowance. Poor old Ethel, she's 400 quid poorer, and all because of what you've done. Enough of that. I hope that's been useful.